Welcome back to my ADHD Diary video 2. I have the inattentive presentation of ADHD, previously known as ADD and now labelled ADHDi. This type is characterised mainly by symptoms of inattention such as difficulty focusing, forgetfulness and being easily distracted. It is most commonly observed in biological girls and women, however it's not exclusive to them, some boys and men may also have this type. The limited research on ADHD, especially studies involving females, often shows that many males exhibit the more observable hyperactive version of ADHD, while females tend to internalise their symptoms, presenting the inattentive type. In the first video, I touched on cognitive issues, briefly discussing memory and learning challenges. For those unfamiliar with cognition, it refers to the mental processes involved in acquiring, processing, storing and using information. These include functions like attention, memory, problem solving, decision making, language comprehension and reasoning. Several parts of the brain contribute to these processes, such as the prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, planning, attention, problem-solving and self-regulation. The hippocampus plays a critical role in memory formation and spatial navigation. The amygdala is involved in emotional processing and it influences decision-making and memory. And the cerebellum supports fine motor skills such as writing, buttoning or using tools, as well as coordination and some cognitive functions like attention and language. I face consistent cognitive challenges daily, which have been present throughout my adult life and likely in childhood as well. These challenges are anecdotal and specific to my experiences, but they align well with cognitive dysregulation demonstrated in numerous studies and reports. If these challenges resonate with you, are persistent and significantly impact your life, it may be worth exploring inattentive ADHD further. You'll also find scientifically backed information on my website, the Science of Wellbeing UK. One significant challenge is the struggle to leave gaps and contingencies between tasks. I often work right up to the last minute and then rush into the next task, which usually causes stress and lateness. This behaviour may result from a mix of hyperfocus and time blindness. One part of my brain tells me to stop, but the other dominant part believes I can finish the task in like 5 minutes. Perfectionism may also play a role, which is a symptom of my complex post-traumatic stress disorder diagnosis, where I hate leaving specific pieces of work unfinished. This perfectionism combined with the other factors creates a pattern of daily stress. However, when I manage to complete the task, I get a dopamine hit, reinforcing the cycle of hyperfocus, time blindness and perfectionism, which I can't say. Hyperfocus also impacts my responsibilities, often leading to feelings of guilt and shame, particularly when I've neglected general responsibilities or when I'm working on a task in the presence of my children. My complex post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms intensify this guilt, especially regarding my children, as I become often irrationally hypervigilant about how my every action might impact their sense of worth. I also have a tendency to rush through tasks without reading information. This seems to be a common one in ADHD and is likely linked to poor impulse control. Additionally, when my mind gets distracted while I'm running through something in my head, I often find it extremely difficult to return to my original thoughts, many of which are completely lost. I believe this is related to working memory, which is the brain's ability to temporarily hold and retrieve information. It relies on the prefrontal cortex and hippocampus, two areas that are dysregulated in ADHD. Another working memory issue I face is needing to repeat information consistently in my head to remember it. and that's working memory again. And routines are also easily disrupted. So if I fall ill, it can take weeks for me to regain a routine. And once disrupted, they usually get forgotten. My calendar is an essential tool for managing my life. It contains everything I need to do, and I check it multiple times daily because I fear forgetting something. This worry is exacerbated by a combination of anxiety and lack of confidence and past consequences around forgetfulness. Non-recurring events are particularly problematic. And while I may remember recurring events like family birthdays in advance, I often forget them in real time until the last minute. I also frequently forget tasks like taking out the washing, and if I miss a phone alert, I forget appointments or school-related items. This issue is linked to prospective memory, which involves remembering to perform actions at a future point. It relies on the prefrontal cortex for planning and attention, and the hippocampus for linking tasks to contextual cues like time or place, both of which are dysregulated in ADHD. And I keep using the term dysregulated rather than dysfunctional because research shows now that ADHD and other neurological conditions involve a dysregulated metabolism. This means vital brain cells aren't being powered sufficiently for proper function. The reasons for this are complex and discussed in detail in another video that I made recently, so be sure to check that one out as well.